Well, we lost by a 61-yard field goal with 5 seconds left on the clock. That was set up by a penalty from an ex-Bill. Let's talk about it. Dolphins fans, how's it going? Well, I know it's probably not going great. Um, we're going to talk about the game here in a second. Obviously, the Dolphins lost 30 to 27, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and it certainly wasn't as bad as every other YouTuber on the channels made it seem like it was going to be. Remember, before we get into this, that all week I've been saying that this game would not be a blowout, and it wasn't. It was not a blowout. There was a lot of good things the Dolphins did. In fact, I would say par or sans one play at the end of the game there on the Bills' final drive. One penalty. That was the penalty on Jordan Poyer. If that hadn't happened, the Dolphins would have won this game. Now, I want to give props to Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills won this game. They drove down the field with that penalty, obviously helping. They got to the point where they could kick a field goal. It was 61 yards. It was a long field goal, but Tyler Bass made it. And I think, like, I'm just gonna come out and say it, and I'm usually not the one that's gonna blame one player for a loss, but this one falls on Jordan Poyer. Um, he hasn't been playing particularly well this year. Obviously, everybody knows that. Bills fans, Dolphins fans, everybody knows it. It's not a secret. But dang, man, you got to play better. I know you're a little older, but with that old age should come wisdom. That thing that you don't seem to have by making a hit like that. That ball on that penalty wasn't even going to be caught. It was already incomplete. Your hit, Jordan Poyer's hit, had no bearing on that at all. It was after the ball had done falling away. So I'm looking at that and I'm thinking about this, and I'm that was a bad play by Jordan Poyer. You need to be cleaner. Wisdom should grant you the knowledge to know that you shouldn't lead with your head like that. And like Mike McDaniel said in his press conference, you need to aim for the strike zone. That's below the neck. So, um, I'm not going to dwell on it too much. I mean, this simplifies everything for the Dolphins, from here on out, and it certainly takes off some pressure. And some people are like, well, what do you mean? You could win 9 more games and make the playoffs. Yes, if we won every game for the rest of the season, we won 9 straight from here on out, we would be 11-6 and would most likely have a wild card spot. You can forget about the division title. The division title's done. The Bills are going to take that. Um, you could theoretically, if you win out or maybe lose one game max, you could theoretically squeeze into a wild card spot. But I'm trying not to think about that. Right now, my attention is going to be shifting focus, obviously staying focused on the Dolphins, but I'm going to be looking more into the players and the situations around what's gonna end up being what we're gonna do from here on out, because the year can't be the same as next year, can't be the same as it was this year. It needs to be better. Now, like I said, this game the Dolphins played very well. Offense did great. I don't have many complaints about the offense. Raheem Mostert had one more fumble, and we were driving. That was right as the second half started. That was our first possession. Dolphins were driving. They got to about 35 or 40, I think, and he coughed it up. I was bummed. But even with that, the Dolphins' offense played great. So let's go over some stats and talk about some of this stuff here. Time of possession, the Dolphins won that 31 minutes or 32 minutes to 28. First downs, Dolphins had 26, Bills had 24. Total yards, the Miami Dolphins had 373 yards, and the Buffalo Bills had 325. Passing yards was pretty much even, 224 yards for Miami, 231 yards for Buffalo. Rushing yards, this was the big disparity. 150 yards rushing for Miami and 94 yards rushing for Buffalo. Um, Penalties, Dolphins had way too many penalties. It was not a clean game penalty wise for Miami. They had 8 penalties, and the Buffalo Bills had 4. Um, Return yards, it's whatever. Return yards, Dolphins had 54 yards, and the Bills had 29. So a total place, it was pretty much tied, 59-60. Dolphins had that slight edge there. Yards per play, Miami averaged 6.2 yards per play, and the Buffalo Bills averaged 5.5. We both had 1 turnover each. Some good things happened in this game, and when we're looking at these stats, you're going to see it. Let's start with the obvious ones. Tua Tagovailoa, 25 of 28. That's right. He had 3 incomplete passes this entire game. 25 of 28 for an 89.28 completion percentage. Unreal. 231 yards, 2 touchdowns for a QBR of 133.60. That's great. That was a great game. I'm not going to say good. I'm going to give him his flowers. Tua had a great game. So I don't want to hear anybody talking, and it's already happening. People are already talking smack. Oh, Tua couldn't win another game. You got to be joking me. Tua did everything he could to win that game. If this was any other quarterback with that stat line, not one person would be saying something bad. So let's put that to bed. Tua had a great game, all-star style game, okay? And he had a better game than Josh Allen did for sure. Josh Allen was 25 of 39 with a 64% completion percentage, 235 yards, so same yardage, same completions, just had 15 more attempts. 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. He had a 100.61 completion or QBR. So not a bad game by Josh Allen either. He had a good game too, but Tua had a better game, and you can't argue that. There's no way. So moving down the line here, Jalen Wright had 6 carries for 18 yards. Malik Washington 1 carry for 9 yards. Tua had 2 carries for 3. One of those was for a first down, and it had definite shades of last time we played them on week 2, where Tua got a concussion. So on that rush, I was holding my breath, but he did well. He dove for the ground instead of diving at another player. Fantastic. Thank you, Tua. Devon Achane, 12 carries for 63 yards. Now, I'm not done with Devon Achane because in the receiving game, he had 8 carries for 58 yards. So he had 120 yards all-purpose, and he had a touchdown. So Devon Achane played great. Wonderful game for him. Raheem Mostert, 10 carries for 56 yards. That's a 5.6 yard average. Great game, except for that stupid little fumble. Tyreek Hill had 4 catches for 80 yards. Do you remember in my previous video when I said if we can get Tyreek 100 yards and if we could rush for 150, we would win this game? Almost hit it. And we almost won that game. I guarantee you that one pass to Tyreek that Tua underthrew, that was the one thing I could say about Tua's game, is he had one pass that was a weak little flat duck that he threw to Tyreek, where Tyreek had to stand there and wait for the ball. If he would have put that in front of Tyreek, that would have been a touchdown, and we would have won that game. That also would have put Tyreek at about 115 yards receiving for the game. So it was right there. The game was there for us, guys. Jonnu Smith, 5 catches for 46 yards. Durham Smythe even had a catch for 4 yards. Raheem Mostert, 2 catches for 32. Jalen Waddle, it says 2 catches for negative 4 yards. Now, the reason for that is because the last play of the game, they threw it to him, and he had to run way back to try to get clear of the tackler, and it didn't work out. So he got tackled with like a 20-yard loss. Odell Beckham had 3 catches for 15 yards. He finally got a little bit involved in the game, and I'm not complaining about that. Like I said, I'm not complaining about the offense at all here, and I really don't have many complaints on the defensive side either. We'll talk about that in a second, though. Looks like Marcus May, Calais Campbell, and Jordan Brooks Anthony Walker Jr. had 10 tackles in this game. So, wow. No, he didn't. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I apologize. Calais Campbell had 6 tackles in this game, and Calais Campbell led the team with tackles. Great game by Calais Campbell. He actually had a half sack. I don't know why it's showing that. Oh, they're giving the whole sack to Chop Robinson. Hey, there we go. Chop Robinson got his first sack. I was going to say that they gave Chop and Calais Campbell half a sack each because that's what they were saying during the stats during the game, but apparently it's gotten switched over to a full sack for Chop Robinson. Good for him. Um, Looking over at the Bills side of this, I told you about Josh Allen, 25-39 for 235, 3 touchdowns and one pick. Um, Rushing, the Dolphins shut the rushing game for the Bills down. The Dolphins defense played the rush fantastic. Ray Davis, 4 carries for 20 yards. James Cook, 10 carries for 44. Ty Johnson, 3 for 23. I can't even complain. That's under 100 yards rushing for the Bills. That's good. Fantastic. That's what I was hoping for, and they did that. The Dolphins shut the rushing game down. And for the passing game, they didn't really do that bad, but the problem with the defense for the Dolphins was in the second half. And it was Josh Allen just staying alive, buying time for his players. And that boils down to really one thing, is that we could not get defensive pressure on the quarterback. Missing Zach Sealer hurt this game. It hurt. And it was very obvious watching this game. You can see it. The stats, I mean, you can go look at the stats yourselves, look at the box score. But we held the Bills to 6 points in the first half. 6 points. It was 10-6 at a halftime. And then in the second half, the Bills scored 24 points. And we scored 17. That was the difference. The third and fourth quarter. That's where I circle it, and I'm saying, oh man. And it was mainly the third quarter, because the fourth quarter the Dolphins had 14 and the Bills had 10. 14 points for the Bills in the third quarter, 3 points for the Dolphins in the third. That's where that game kind of got, spun around a little bit, and we lost a little bit of momentum. You could definitely tell in this game that the Bills were slightly panicked. They were playing well though in the second half with their offense. 24 points and a half of football. It's pretty decent. So like I said, you got to give the Bills their flowers. They played well. They won the game. I do feel like that one play when the Bills were trying to get into field goal range to win it, I feel like that on that third down play where Jordan Poyer led with his head and initiated contact with a wide receiver with helmet to helmet, that penalty is what hurt. That gave him 15 yards and a first down. And if that wouldn't have happened, that ball was dropped, and that was bringing about fourth down. And there was enough time left there where I would think that the Bills would have punted that away, because they were on the 30-yard line, their 30-yard line. So if they would have gone for it on fourth down and not got it, we would have had the ball in field goal range, just like that. So I would say that penalty is what lost us the game, and that's a hard pill to swallow, especially for Jordan Poyer. I mean, he's going to have to buckle down and just accept this one, and he's going to have to accept the fact there's going to be a lot of people talking smack about him on the internet, especially on the internet from fans this week, and he's going to have to buckle down and come back. I'll say that after this whole, not just this play, but I'll say after this whole season so far of Jordan Poyer being on this team, I'm like, who am I? I'm just a guy putting out YouTube videos for the Dolphins. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with the way he's been playing. I'm not impressed with his attention to detail on the field. So, like I said, who am I to say, cut him, let him go? I'm just saying I haven't been impressed with him, and I feel like at the end of the year, I think that he's one of those players that we could move on from and do better. Javon Holland was definitely missed in this game. If we would have had Javon Holland playing that play on safety, Javon Holland goes for the legs, the hips, and the chest on tackles. Javon Holland is a textbook tackler, and he plays safety the right way. And I guarantee you that play would have gone different if it was Javon Holland. It might even have been picked off if it was Javon Holland. I mean, that's where that was at. That was just a bad play by Jordan Poyer. Half a step too late, trying to play catch up, led with his helmet, and hit another player in the helmet after the ball was already dropped. Unreal. But I digress. The Dolphins have lost to the Buffalo Bills. Kudos to the Bills for winning this game. Good game, Bills. It was not a blowout like so many people were thinking. Dolphins fans and Bills fans alike. You know, Dan with AFC East Roundtable and BetUS Sports. Looking at you, buddy, with your whole "this is a bye week for Buffalo." I hope we made you crap your pants. To all the Buffalo Bills fans that are subscribers for me and the ones who pay attention to my page or my channel, it was a good game, and I appreciate all of you guys for the most part being pretty respectful in the comments section and stuff. And you guys got the win. Good game. I don't see anybody else taking the division title away from you guys, so congratulations on your fifth straight division title. I can't remember, something like that. It's been so long, and I'm so old that I'm forgetting. But Dolphins fans, we sit at 2-6 in the division, and in the division, oh man, I'm not even sure I want to know. But I think well, let's see. Let's look at this real quick while I have you here. Cowboys lost to the Falcons. Titans beat the Patriots, so we're in third place in the AFC East. Patriots bringing up the rear in last place. The Jets are in second. Oh, man. What a day of football. Like I said, it was a good game. I enjoyed watching. It felt good to be cheering for something. It felt good to see our offense playing well. It felt good to see a pick on defense. See our defense actually get an interception in the end zone, of all things. It was good. It was a good game. I'm bummed, but I'm not depressed. It's a beautiful Sunday. I've got a good family. I've got a good job. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this evening, and you guys all should too. Remember, it's just football. It's not the end of the world. I'll be back on here Monday or Tuesday with a little beginning of the week video like I normally do. And then I'll do the preview for next week's game at the Los Angeles Rams. It's a Monday night game, so expect it a day later than normal. And we'll get going on this next week and move on. Bummer, but now we can focus in on the rest of the season. And like I said, now it's simple now. You need to win out to make the playoffs. You need to win everything except for one game to have a chance to make the playoffs. So that's basically what we're looking at. Is it going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. Am I going to be rooting for it? Am I going to be talking about it like it could happen? Yes, I will be. Because someone's got to be positive on all this stuff, even with all this negativity going around and all these reasons. There's plenty of reasons to be upset and screaming into your microphone and telling people, "I told you this is what's going to happen." No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to remain optimistic, and I'm going to speak openly and honestly about the games like I have been always. Fire Chris Greer, by the way. Just want to throw that out there again. I'm going to put that in every video for the rest of the season. Fire Chris Greer. Oh, I did want to add one last thing before I get out of here. Mike McDaniel called a good game. Start to finish, he called a good game. There was only maybe one or two plays that I probably would have called differently. But I feel like Mike McDaniel called a very good game. So kudos to Mike McDaniel for calling the game the right way, having good balance, making intelligent play calls, and preparing his team. I feel like our team was prepared to play a good game, and they did. So if they play like this for the rest of the season, if the Dolphins play like this for the rest of the season, I don't see them losing another game. This was the hardest game on our schedule, by far. There's other difficult games, but if the Dolphins play like this and prepare like they did for this game, they're not going to lose another game. So I know that might be a hard pill to swallow for some people, but that's the way it is. That's how I see it, and that's what I'm going to say it. I'm going to call it just as I see it. So go Dolphins. Congratulations, Buffalo Bills. Thank you for all the new subscribers and the likes and comments. It's really kind of helped, and it's been nice seeing some interaction and some flow of people watching my videos. And I hope it continues. And hopefully, maybe some way, somehow, the Dolphins will see the Buffalo Bills in the first round of the playoffs this year. And if that happens, let's go Dolphins. Peace.